Welcome everyone to another episode of Football Armchair Experts, where we pretend to know everything, but actually we know nothing. And this week is going to be a special week. It's our review of the summer transfer window, so that means it's another tier list. If a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? If you drop 3 points to Forest, I think you'll sound a bit like Chelsea fan Robin.
What
Scoring
the?
3 goals against Aston Villa, you'll sound a bit like Liverpool fan Imran. Conceding 3 goals to Erling Haaland. Myself, I'm a Fulham fan. Maybe not as bad as conceding 3 goals to Evan Ferguson though. And that's Newcastle fan Manjun. We start in alphabetical order. We start with Arsenal. I guess the main highlights would be, of course, Declan Rice, most expensive transfer this transfer window, 116 million euros.
Yeah, I think in general it's a good window. Declan Rice is the biggest must-have that they needed to bolster their squad in lah. I think Declan Rice is a very good transfer. Obviously, from a Chelsea perspective, there's a bit of jealousy there. He's definitely the exact profile that Arsenal needed. The only one that throws the whole window into a bit of a doubt is maybe Kai Havertz lah. Because he, honestly, I still don't know his role in the team. He's very ineffective lor. And funny moment against Man United also, he missed one very good chance. He just kicked air pretty much, which doesn't help his case. But yeah, it's quite sad to see Kai Havertz looking a bit lost in the team because I think everybody had more hopes. But yeah, I still want to maintain faith in what Arteta is doing lah. So we'll see.
Sort of feel like he doesn't really provide much to Arsenal. So I also I can't really wrap my head around them paying so much for Kai Havertz. I think it's essentially what Chelsea bought him for also, right? Like plus minus a bit, but in general it's like the same price. So it's like, I don't know. I think honestly it's a good offload for Chelsea, right? It's like they bought this player at that point, someone with a lot of potential for quite a huge sum, and then it didn't work out. And then they managed to still move him on, for like the same price. So I think it's actually a negative for me in from Arsenal's perspective.
The fact that they got Declan Rice, I feel is a win lah for Arsenal, regardless of what happens with Havertz. Regardless of the ACL injury with Timber, I think it's okay lah. It should be celebrated that they even got Rice lor, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess maybe because Arsenal haven't been dining at the top table, especially in terms of transfers for quite a while. So they wanted like a statement signing. They needed to beat another like big team. Chelsea was sort of in for him, but then again, Chelsea are in for lots of players nowadays. So I think they wanted to beat a rival to a big player, and I guess they got that for Declan Rice. I've seen this commentary elsewhere before where like Kai Havertz, they basically were bidding against no one and still bid like basically top dollar for him. So that's a little bit strange. But I guess maybe the good thing is that they knew what they wanted and they got what they wanted.
I feel very lenient today. What's the top tier? Is it S or is it
A? Top tier is S.
S? Okay, I'm gonna give Arsenal an A lah.
B plus. There's a B plus or like an A minus. Okay, then I will go for B.
So for now, I think I can still put them as an A.
Okay. Given Imran wanted to lean on the A minus kind of thing, we'll go with A for that one. Aston Villa had a strong start to the transfer window and then it kind of petered out a little bit. So their main signing, their statement signing was Musa Diaby for 55 million. So that was the one that a lot of like top tier clubs were like looking at. I think at one point Arsenal were also looking at potentially buying him from Leverkusen also, but in the end he went to Aston Villa. Pau Torres, of course, was the one who won. Was it the Conference League or the Europa League with Villarreal? And the rest were all like cheaper signings, loan for Nicolo Zaniolo. That one is mainly because of injuries that they had to get extra depth. And of course, free transfer for Yuri Tielemans is always pretty good deal. And I guess most of their transfers outs were all like either bench players or youth players. So maybe you can start with Manjun for this one.
Well, I'm gonna keep the leniency like same lah. You look at the names, right? It's a straight up S tier for me lah.
Okay.
Like if given 3 years ago, right, I don't think Villa will even get this kind of caliber of names in their team lah. It's the Ollie Watkins kind of players, but now they have this kind of international stars. I think it's a big step. Whether they'll be good or not, I mean, I don't know lah. But then I think Emery should do a job lah.
That's what we felt last year also, right? Aston Villa has been having very good transfer windows. But I don't know if it's a coaching or a tactic thing, but they're always very inconsistent. So performance-wise, I cannot give them an S tier just yet, but I think it's a pretty solid A for me.
Okay, I mean, cannot judge them on performance yet. I guess it's still too early in the season and they are not exactly very bad, I guess. It's like middle. I think it will be a A for me too. I think like the thing is, I don't really know a lot about Musa Diaby also. So obviously people say he's good, then okay lah. But I think in terms of like Pau Torres and especially Langway and Tillmans, is that they're all very good, like solid signings. But I think for me, S tier will be something that's like a very game changing sort of thing where like a club sign really, then you know like, oh, it's definitely gonna push them up to the next level lah. This one is like it strengthens the club, but I don't know how far along exactly. Whether does it like improve their like profile? Like is it like a big enough difference? Like if I were to compare this to maybe last season, I would think that maybe even last season's signings is like comparable, you know.
Trying not to get influenced by the early results of the league, where it looks like they should have probably gone for a centre forward. Are these players going to be the ones to push Aston Villa to top four? Is a bit much, but say to solidly European challenging. I guess we probably need like the hindsight of one whole season to be able to tell. But I'm probably okay with going for A for this. Next up will be Bournemouth. I can start for this. Clearly, this one is S tier. I think any other season, Bournemouth, I think, if I'm not wrong, in terms of their total expenditure, top 5 in the league. 100 over million spent by Bournemouth. I think it's not so much that the value they're getting from these players, because a lot of these players we don't really know how they're like. Like Milos Kerkez, never heard of him in my life. Alex Scott was linked to quite a lot of like mid-table clubs, but Bournemouth managed to get him. I think if you were to ask any mid-table club or clubs even slightly above Bournemouth also, would they want this kind of transfer window? 100% yes. Especially even on the transfer deadline day also, where they were getting Sinisterra from Leeds. I was also thinking like, actually, why did no one else do that? So for me, this is totally unexpected for Bournemouth. Of course, with the predictions, both Manjo and I already put them 10th. So we're expecting big things from them. So yeah, this is a S for me.
But I think Tyler Adams is very, very good, good defensive midfield. I think all these players just help them solidify their position in the league, like surviving. Makes them much more safe, I would say. So, I don't know, Justin Kluivert was quite hyped like many years back, but now I don't know how he really is, because that price tag is very cheap for quite a big name. I don't know, if I had to give a grade, then I'll rate the same, or like A or A+.
It's an S for me. I did not believe Bournemouth will have this kind of pool of like the pull factor to attract players of like even this kind of quality. Like, these are like better than average players, but then I don't think Bournemouth even had that pool. It's not Bournemouth has a fucking small stadium, so I think why even have that pool in the first place? So not bad from Bournemouth. I think the only drawback is that they didn't manage to keep Jefferson Lerma. Like he went to Crystal Palace, which is a bit of a sideways move. Like why the fuck we do that to be honest. Other than that, I think still an S for me
It's like in my head, it's always like sometimes if you spend too much, then it's a negative, right? Like why these clubs spend so much money, then you don't really see the returns. But this one is like I feel like they paid quite fair values for a lot of players to strengthen their squad, and they don't usually splurge. So when they actually do this time round, right? And considering I guess they're like one of the smallest clubs in the EPL, right? So it's like kudos to them that they managed to like really invest in their squad this time around and get solid players in. So for me, it's a A. But I can't give an S because I don't know the players that well.
Brentford had 4 ins, 4 outs, so quite a straightforward and quiet transfer window, I guess, for Brentford. Their biggest expenditure was on Nathan Collins.
But I guess I'll just give a B because not a lot of ins, not a lot of outs. So I think maybe never really strengthened that much, but never really weakened.
Yeah, I'm of the same opinion. I mean, these guys also I'm not very familiar with. Except like, I mean, Maupay kind of sucks. It's a very weird transfer. Very, very weird transfer. He's like on the decline, so it's weird to bring him in. The Kevin Schade guy, I think he's been playing decent. But I felt like Brentford's problem is just tiding through the first half without Ivan Toney until he's back in Jan. Which they've been doing pretty well now. But then that was like Mbuemo stepping up or Wissa stepping up rather than all these new guys. So I can't really tell if this is a very good transfer window for them. It seems like they are kind of level of players. Again, more of a consistency signing type of thing. Maintenance signings.
I'm going to be harsh here. It's going to be an A for me. Like,
okay.
Firstly, Nathan Collins, right? Like, I swear he was 4th choice centre back at Wolves last season. So what the fuck even? Kevin Schade was already there last season, so it's not even a new signing. Mark Fleckenfuck is a goalkeeper, so be it. But fucking you, Pompey. I mean, you couldn't get anyone better, man. For fuck's sake, man. Like, it's like, it's like your old friend that you bopian, you know, I mean, no one else. But it's Brentford, what? You can pull somebody else better than you, Pompey. Overall, yeah, fucking F. What the fuck is this even? Yeah.
okay, that will pull our average down. I was also leaning towards a B also. But yeah, because it's a bit hard to be able to differentiate between how well Brentford are doing versus their transfer window. I, to be honest, was a bit surprised that Nathan Collins not just went for 25 million once, but he went for 25 million a second time, because Wolves bought him for 25, Brentford bought him for 25 or so. I don't really know what both of these clubs see in him. He's an okay centre back at most. So I don't know, but obviously there's a reason why we're not football managers. Mark Flecken, we'll have to see over the course of the season how well he will do to replace David Raya also. But it looks like he's solid so far. But yeah, it's a bit of an uninspiring transfer window. But then again, you don't really expect inspiring transfer windows from Brentford. That's why I kind of was leaning towards B also. Next up, Brighton. So Brighton, no spoilers here. They are the club that's made the most this transfer window. So they are up 187 million euros. Yeah, mostly because of Chelsea, I would say. Their transfers out, Moises Caicedo was 160 million, Robert Sanchez was 23. The big thing, I guess, for Chelsea fans to look out for is that probably in 2 years' time, you'll be signing Carlos Baleba because he's the replacement for Caicedo.
Confirm.
Yeah, but actually, the two signings that will probably be the ones that are a little bit more outstanding are actually Ansu Fati on a loan from Barcelona and Mohamed Dahoud from Dortmund. So those two are free and loan, so technically they are in on a cheap. So even that, I think you have to give Brighton quite a lot of kudos in terms of how they've done it. But in terms of gradings, we start first with Imran.
Yeah, I mean, no one gonna argue that Brighton has been S tier for the past few seasons. So I think even if they don't buy any players, right, just by their transfer outs, right, and the amount of money they get for their players is insane. So just by I think selling Caicedo alone is already S tier. 100 million for him, that's insane. But also, again, like you said, managed to get a lot of players in for the cheap that are actually very good, like Ansu Fati, trying to revive his career after a lot of injuries at Barcelona. I think Mohamed Dahoud, he at one point he also was quite hot on, right? But maybe he overstayed a bit at Dortmund and then his form not as good now, which is why he left on a free. And then, I mean, James Milner is, I think, still a good player, and especially for a mid-table club, he brings that, I guess, mentality, and then you need some leader, your standard things with James Milner, you know what you're getting. There's a certain standard with him. So yeah, I think overall it's easy S tier.
Yeah, looking at the P&L alone, it's a S lah. If you told Brighton, we give you 180 million for 3 players, I think it's a win lah.
Not only are they a successful business as proven here, I mean their performances on the pitch is also very good. All that's left is to win actual trophies lah. Then I think these signings will probably push them towards it. I think James Milner is probably the most underrated one there. Because if any doubts of their involvement in Europe distracting them from EPL and all that, balancing the workload, all that, I think Milner's experience should help quite a lot. Yeah, there's no doubts about this. Is a S tier straight up. One player almost cover the entire ins. Everything else is pure profit. So it's mad already.
Or at least I can speak for myself. I have no idea about Burnley's transfer window. Maybe Manju can impress us. But Burnley apparently made many signings.
Wow.
But none of the signings were above 20 million. Most of these signings are quite unknown. Third from the top, Aaron Ramsey is not the Aaron Ramsey that you're thinking of. It's another Aaron Ramsey. He's an Aston Villa youngster. There are a few that maybe are a little bit more stand out. I guess the one that maybe if you watch Bundesliga, Jacob Brun-Larsen from Borussia Dortmund is a loan, bit of a bigger name. Sander Berger was the one who's a lot of mid-table teams in the Premier League were looking at him. Newcastle were linked with him, Fulham were linked with him. Burnley in the end got him. And James Trafford is England's under-21 keeper.
I'm aiming towards an A for this lah. They did what they could lah. You can see recently they tried to sign players lah. I think these are the quality of players that they can actually sign. Maybe like you say, the standout is probably Sander Berge for me. But at least it seems like they are trying. So to me, it's an A lah. A for effort.
I don't know anything like that. I'll just give you a B lah. Just cause the total expenditure actually is quite big. It's 100 million.
Yeah, man, I have no idea all these players. I only know Sander Berge and Nathan Redmond.
Same.
Oh, fucking Nathan Redmond. Oh my god.
Yeah,
That's
that's also on the
free.
downhill. I don't know.
That's an F itself, it is, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, like, he's free, like, it's free, like, it's like no zero
Oh,
risk.
yeah, still he's free. Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, lor, it's like a shelter and then just adopt him for a while.
Fucking senior dog.
Leave out his last year somewhere. Like.
From one club that has signed a lot of players for not a lot of money to a club
Oh
that has
dear.
signed a lot of players for a lot of money.
Alphabet.
Yes, alphabetically that's Chelsea.
Yeah,
So
okay.
numerically fewer transfers than Burnley, but still this is a crazy amount of players to be even seeing on the screen. Of course, there's Caicedo, we've talked about it. 62 million euros for Romeo Lavia and not even on the bench this weekend. Of course, Nkunku unfortunately out injured. The one that was a little bit surprising was Cole Palmer for 47.
I don't know. As a Chelsea fan, obviously I'm very excited by all these signings. But at the same time, I'm also worried, like, what's the direction? Because apparently Pochettino doesn't have much say in all these signings also. He's just like, oh, you buy what, then I just coach law. So it's a weird business model that I don't fully support. Yeah, I always believe the coach should have a say in the transfers that they want so that he can build the team that he wants. But apparently Todd Bowley and gang just wants to find 21-year-old and under, like the FM scouting filter, they set an age down there. Nothing above 22 at least, that kind. So weird lah, very weird. Very, very, very weird. A plan that could backfire horribly again.
So I think as players they are good, but with the price tag it sort of pulls it down. But I think the main problem for Chelsea is like very weird like the Christopher Nkunku down, right? Like all the other players, right? Honestly, right, before they're linked to Chelsea, I don't even know who they are. Like just random players from I don't know mid-table clubs. So Nicholas Jackson also, like now I don't know why the Chelsea fans hyping him up. Before this, I nobody even know who Nicholas Jackson is. Yeah, and then the Cole Palmer is the weirdest shit. It's like
Yeah.
I don't know. like they sell their own academy player, then they go and buy Manchester City's academy player, then like but actually it's like the same standard one, and they're like all equally unproven, and like I don't know what they're doing.
They wanted to buy the players that they bought, then they had to clear a lot of players. And the fact they fucking did it, right? I'm so fucking impressed. So and all for decent money to the Saudi League. So I think it's not bad. To me it's an A lah. Just based on the players that they managed to clear out.
I'm looking at it slightly different from the previous two transfer windows where I was like, okay, it's either S tier or A tier. I think overpaying for so many of these like sort of unproven players, I would rather you go for cheaper alternatives that are a little bit older that can get you results instantly. I'm going to grade this a C.
Give them a B. Like I mean, the main thing they need is like a proven striker, right? Which they still haven't gone for despite buying so many players.
My excitement is S tier lah, of course, but like my sentimental value of losing some homegrown players plus a lot of experience makes it. I will still have to give it an A tier. It's a very good window for Chelsea, considering we have to get rid of so much dead weight.
Next up, I don't think we need to mention too much for this. For Crystal Palace's transfer window, they managed to keep Michael Olise, so that was a big win for them. Matheus Franca, the 20 million buy that they bought. Fun fact, they actually inserted a clause which says if he wins the Ballon d'Or, he will have a release clause, I think, of more than 100 million. So that's I don't know if that's overly optimistic for Roy Hodgson and friends.
I'm uninspired lah. And the fact they even fork out $1 million for Rock Holding is quite big.
Too much. Overpaid for Rock Holding.
It's too much. It's 1 million too much. But yeah, decent loh. Jefferson Lerma is cool. Zaha was gonna leave anyway, cause like yeah. I guess it's a C for me lah.
Yeah, I think it's a C for me too.
Everton's transfer window. So yes, they had a positive on this transfer window, but they absolutely needed to. They would have reached financial fair play. They continue to make a loss.
Yeah, this is the one that I would say is a very clear below average. So it's a C or D. Let's put it as a D.
Hey, actually, I'm not gonna lie, I'm quite impressed with this transfer window. The fact, right, they're not banking on fucking Dominic Calvert-Lewin to come back and save them anymore. Right? It's fucking good. That they went in and buy 3 forwards, and they removed the dead weight of Neil Maupay and Moises Kean. To me, it's a win lah. It's an A for me lah for this.
Yeah, okay, that's too much. But okay,
I think it's a C or D for me. I think I go for C just cause they managed to clear out like quite a lot of players.
Clearly their squad is weaker than last season. Like without Iwobi, without Yerry Mina, even Andros Townsend also, C or D for me also. Fulham's transfer window. So only one main sale. So it was Mitrovic leaving for 52 million euros. Everyone else who was out was on a free. So just clearing dead weight of people who have already run out of contract. And most of the money went towards both Nigerians, Alex Iwobi and Calvin Bassey.
Players like Calvin Bassey, like Castagna, I still feel like they are a level above Fulham. They are like Aston Villa level kind of players. So the fact that Fulham got them is a steal. I think Adama on the free is a steal also. But the complete scam is freaking Alex Iwobi for 25 million. That's a complete scam.
Yeah.
I mean, he's okay lah. He proved last year okay lah. But what the fuck? It's 25 million is a bit of overpay. Okay, to me it's a B lah. I mean, A is a bit too much. It's a B for me.
Otherwise, I think it's okay for Fulham. Yeah, I'll give it a pretty decent B. Yeah.
Mitrovic was a solid 10 to 15 goals. I'm not sure Jimenez will get that. So it means that the rest of the team will have to share the load in terms of the goals. Alex Iwobi is a bit strange. Apparently, Marco Silva really wanted him. So, okay, I suppose. And it means that he'll probably start also. Not sure as a number 10 or number 8 who really knows where Alex Iwobi's best position is. He's probably like the, I don't know, cut price Kai Havertz, where he doesn't really have a fixed position. Nobody really knows if he's a winger or whatever. So we'll see where the plan is in terms of him. But yeah, for me, a bit of an uninspiring transfer window. Could have been worse if Palhinha left, and even worse if the replacement was Scott McTominay. At one point, it could have been him. That's like relegation transfer window.
Fulham has been carried by Mitrovic for so long, it's a bit okay lah. Maybe not as bad as like refers to at Crystal Palace, but at some point also it feels a bit like that. It's like Mitrovic is your focal point for like everything, right? So, and with him leaving so suddenly, and again, like I said, Raul Jimenez decent, but like it's not gonna be the same lah. So, I don't know. Either B or C for me lah.
Liverpool. So only 4 signings, 4 midfield signings. So complete revamp of their midfield.
It's a solid A for me. Cause just by the fact that everybody knew last season, like the problem was the midfield, right? And they've managed to clear out all the players. Maybe a bit more than we expected, but that's just cause the Saudi League came, right? So ideally you would have wanted to keep either Fabinho or Jordan Henderson. But the fact that, I guess, clear out all the old guys and the young guys that aren't doing anything and then managed to get in, I think actually Endo I'm not sure, but the other 3, at least 3 to 4 very solid midfielders for me. And maybe I've been biased because of how they've been performing. So like for me it's A tier.
For me it's an A tier lah. Other than that, I think right, the one thing they can push into S tier, right, is that they managed to sell Salah for 200 million. Yeah, I think it's a solid S tier. Okay, what the fuck?
Yeah, I will take the 200 million.
If that happens, right, it's a super S. It's the best S you can find, but for now it's an A.
Yeah, this looks like the midfield refresh that Liverpool desperately needed, and it's how a midfield refresh should be done from a Chelsea fan. Yeah, I mean, if they gotten Caicedo or Lavia, it'd probably be an easy S tier. But because Endo is a relative unknown, Gravenberch is a last minute guy, not sure if he was first choice, I think this is a very safe A tier.
Luton Town. If we had nothing much to say for Burnley, I think the only takeaway for this is that Luton are very much, in terms of their expenditure, preparing for a season in the Championship. Like if you were to look at the Championship expenditures, right, Championship clubs spend more than this.
My main team crew is back in the league, so that's cool. Okay. Not really too mad or marvelous this transfer window. So,
are you mad on Mets?
Have you taken your meds, bro?
I don't know. I mean, I'm lenient. I gotta give A for trying lah. So
okay, sure.
What can they fucking do? What can they fucking do, right? Yeah. So
Please for just getting in the league in the first place.
Who's gonna go to Luton Town? Their marquee signing is Lost Puppy, so give to them lah. A for effort.
Okay. Can. Imran.
Yeah, I mean A for effort, but I think C for the transfer window lah. Just cause. Yeah, C lah. C. There's nothing more I can say lah. Not bad, not good. You don't expect a lot from them anyways, right?
Pretty crappy team lah. It's really a bunch of average players. Maybe it's a decent Championship level players, but I don't think they'll make it in the Premier League lah. So it's a D for me.
Matt Anderson, by the way, was a purchase from Barnsley, and Barnsley are in League One. So like this is like clearly a championship like level kind of transfer window. And this team may not get promoted kind of transfer window also. But given like they're in the Premier League and all that, I think they could have done more. Yeah, I'll go D for this one. Like the fact that their biggest, most expensive transfer is like some guy from Wolves who wasn't even playing. So overall, I think that makes it a C tier transfer window because Banjun gave them A for effort.
Very lenient.
Although I think that's F for spelling now. But okay, can. Next, Manchester City, Josko Gvardiol for 90 million. Some people saying they paid that much because his name sounds like Guardiola. Matheus Nunes, a bit strange. I didn't think they needed this signing, but okay, I guess they felt they needed another midfield signing just to like buff the numbers. Jeremy Doku for 60 million looks like quite a good deal. I think he's still quite young and he's also quite fast as well. And a lot of he was linked to quite a lot of Premier League clubs as well. And actually, I think one of the deals of the summer has to be Kovacic for 29 million. The fact that he's like solid, still not that old midfielder, can do a job also for just 29 million. The fact that Chelsea let him go for that little is also quite good. And I think they've done well with the players that they sold. Cole Palmer, nobody would have known he'd gone for 47. Riyad Mahrez and Laporte were not really first team anyway. So the fact they got solid numbers for that. I'll go A tier for Man City.
Actually, to be honest, I'm not very impressed with this window. Maybe from the start, I always felt their team was super clean. And what they did in this window was only replace the players and left.
Mm-hmm.
And that's quite still super thin. So, and I think Matheus Nunes, what the fuck? Like, okay, they needed a CM, okay, because their central midfield is super thin. But then I think Nunes a bit overpaid lah. Like, what the fuck they even do last year, right? So it'll be weird lah. So to me, it's a B lah.
I think it's a B also lah. Guardiola is like coming in. It's a bit like a luxury signing. You know, you're signing like a marquee player to be. I don't know even if he can get to the first team for now.
The other side of Manchester United.
Very strange lah. I thought Man U started the transfer season quite well. I thought Mason Mount was a good signing. Overpaid, yes, but it was a pretty good signing for them. Onana is a very good upgrade on De Gea, considering how Ten Hag wants to play. Onana is super exciting, gives you heart attack, but so far so good lah. Højlund is a gamble, a big gamble. A low B.
I don't know if it's just me lah, but then this feels like a chicken breast of a transfer window lah. Like it's good lah, but it's bland as fuck lah to me, the signings. So
we need a new tier called chicken breast.
Fucking Mason Mount is a C to me. Like it's good players lah, but a bit bland lah.
I feel like they haven't really improved their squad. And then, but the expenditure is 150 million. So for me, that's like a C.
Newcastle.
Okay, it started off well lah with Sandro Tonali, but after that it just went downhill for me. To be honest, when they sold ASM, it's cool, but they sold SM and then they targeted Musa Diaby for some time. Then when he didn't choose us, then suddenly we went for Harvey Barnes. Like it's our first choice all along. It wasn't lah. No one wanted Harvey Barnes. Freaking like he has one foot. He can't do anything else. He just left-footed. So then Livramento, to me, he had a few nice games lah for Southampton, but you don't pay 40 million for that lah. Yeah, you just pay for like potential. Lewis Hall, again, you're paying for potential. To me, not super upgrade because I don't think Lewis Hall is going to play in front of Denver, and Livramento is not going to play in front of like Trippier. And how you find someone starting? So everything's all a gamble. So to me, it's maybe not a C. Okay, I'll give you a B lah.
Comparing to what we thought Newcastle would do in this transfer window, a lot of us thought like, okay, now they've made the Champions League, they got more pull factor. Yes, if not for the Champions League, they probably wouldn't have got Sandro Tonali. But that's the only one that Newcastle would not have purchased if they weren't in the Champions League. Like Harvey Barnes, if Newcastle finished 9th last season, they would have bought him anyway. So I feel like it's a bit of a wasted opportunity. They didn't take advantage of that. Probably from Newcastle's point of view, they're like, it's okay. Next season we'll qualify for the Champions League again. We'll go for better players next time. Kind of between B and C. Next up, Nottingham Forest. Again, It's been one of those kind of transfer windows.
The sale of Brennan Johnson itself, right? It's an ASS tier piece of business here. Like, yeah, he's fast, he's young, but then he's not that good, to be honest. But overall, I still give it an A though, because I feel even though they're buying a lot, but I feel that the caliber of players that they bought in now compared to last season is better.
Yeah, it almost seems as if Forest have sort of learned from last season a little bit. Like you can tell most of the transfers out were all last season signing. So it's like having a second chance to try again. I feel it's A this time also. It seems like it's a little bit more targeted, although there are some where they overpay a little bit much. That's why I'm leaning maybe low A, high B.
I guess the difference is this time around there's a lot of, I guess, Premier League proven players. Managed to get a few of the players who actually played for a lot of like the top, like the bigger clubs, even though they're like in and out of the squad, but at least they have like sort of proven Premier League experience.
Cameron Archer is their 20 million striker gamble. So if you've been a long-term watcher, you know how much how much we love Ryan Brewster around here. So this is their second attempt to make this work. We'll start with Robin. Is this the transfer window to keep Sheffield United up?
But Cameron Archer just scored or something.
Yes, he did score.
Already a better buy than Ryan.
True.
How do I even grade these guys that I don't know?
Give a C and be done with it.
Yeah, lor.
But I don't like that they sold their two best players for. To me, they undersold them lah. I think they're worth more than that lah. To be honest, based on that, it's a D for me lah.
A team that actually spent quite a lot of money, but maybe went a bit under the radar. The fact that a lot of these players we didn't really know a lot of, like Mickey Van de Ven, 40 million. And a lot of these players were already there before. So Pedro Porro and Kulusevski were already there. It's just that it was loan with obligation to buy. So most of these purchases came in. Most of the actual money went out only this transfer window. Brendan Johnson and James Maddison are the main purchases here, and Vicario to replace Hugo Lloris.
I think it's a B tier. Like Harry Kane leaving it's like a very big thing. Don't think obviously can't really replace Harry Kane with anyone else. So that's like a straight minus already. James Maddison is a A tier buy but that doesn't pull, I guess, the overall results up. The rest are sort of like meh. Like you said, a lot of them are really there, right? So as I don't really there already, or I don't really know them, and they paid quite a lot for them. And then for people like Vicario, like if you want to replace Hugo Lloris, I don't know if he's like good enough also.
But yeah, in terms of the transfers in, they had the 100 over million to spend. It took them ages to spend it, but eventually they did. And I think they've done a pretty good job. Like Mohamed Kudus is a good transfer. Like he was linked to, well, Brighton isn't a bigger club, but like he finished higher than West Ham. And I think maybe Arsenal were also linked with Kudus at one point or so. Edson Alvarez is a 1-for-1 replacement for Declan Rice. So the fact they got him for 38 is okay. James Ward-Prowse has started off the season really well, and set piece taker, I suppose, is always you'll always be involved in the goals.
But I think they spend very well though, to be honest. I think it's not conference league, it's Europa League standard lah. Maybe those kind of standards, which is their level and higher. So to me, it's an A.
I think what struck me was like the total expenditure is still positive, even after all that. So it's like managed to not spend so much, balance the books, still get decent players in.
To me, I think that alone is S tier.
Yes, they've made a profit, but they also had to make a profit because of financial fair play. So I guess in terms of Matheus Nunes, that was a bonus. They didn't expect to sell him to Man City, but they absolutely needed to sell Ruben Neves. And yeah, the rest of the sales, Nathan Collins, I guess surprised that they managed to get that much for him. And most of their replacements, I would say, are quite unknown. Other than Matheus Cunha was already there, it's just loan with obligation to buy.
So this is a very average transfer window. So good for the business, but not good for the pitch. So I think it's a C.
To me, it's gonna be like E or something. Like
E, okay.
E or F, not the lowest grade. They literally became worse. Look at this window. You would think they'll go down, confirm.
This is how our tier list looks like. S tier, Bournemouth, Brighton, Wolves. Wolves. Bournemouth, Brighton, and West Ham. Of course, if you do have any opinions about the transfer window, you can let us know in the comment section also. Happy with your starts to the season so far? I mean, Inran will be yes, for sure.
Oh, yes.
I think that one don't really need to say. But I think the more interesting one is to ask Robin and Marjun how you feel about your starts to the season. Like Chelsea with 4 points, 4 games. Newcastle with 3 points from 4 games.
Chelsea, Fulham, Newcastle, back to back on the table.
Yes. Yeah, but you see, right? One team is expecting to be there. The other two are not.
No man, it's been a bad start results-wise. Performance-wise, there are glimpses. But I feel like this is a phase, it's a stupid young team type of phase. So I am being forced to be very, very patient with the whole club. Yeah, I'm still very optimistic, but it's been disappointing. The Nottingham Forest game is reflection of the last year's Chelsea, where he couldn't do anything. End up anyhow cross, no more ideas. Like Pochettino also very scary one, and like when he have no idea, he just bring every attacker on. Then the formation just goes whack. Then you know they're not going to score. So it's, wow, I'm scared.
I mean, to be fair to him, most of the players that you brought are all attackers anyway, all attacking midfielders. So what else is he going to... how you feel about Newcastle season? Did you hear? How do you feel about Newcastle season? Or is that actually the response to how
Oh,
he feels
he
about
lagging,
Newcastle?
he lagging.
Oh,
Yeah. Dramatic
oh,
pause.
really? Oh, okay, that's how he feels about Newcastle season.
Yeah.
Okay. See you next time for our predictions after the international break.